Today on the podcast, I want us to discuss or I want us to learn how to push back on price. That's for those of you who are not comfortable pushing back on price, pushing back on the budget. Because the problem is when we're having conversations with potential customers, with potential clients, usually they throw out a figure. And a lot of us just take the figure as gospel truth. You're talking with somebody, they say their budget is 5 million. The next thing you're trying to adapt to that 5M. Or they say, they spoke to so and so, and the person quoted 5 million for them. And then because of that 5 million figure that the client has put out will now become the anchor. I will now set the context for the rest of the conversation as it flows. Should we be doing that in our business? That just because the client said that 5M, that I mean get, so because of that we should just flow with that 5M or whatever price that they put out. Should we be doing that in our businesses? Or we should learn to push back on the budget, inquire on the budget, because it's a serious problem when we take the customer's budget as gospel truth. Now, whatever the customer says, and that's the truth. First of all, is this a realistic attitude to have? Then when the customer just gives you a figure, you will just blend. You will just roll with it. Don't you know that sometimes the customer is just throwing this figure, meanwhile the figure is out of date? Honestly, when I was in the event space, I used to get that a lot. I'll be talking to a bride and she'll say, no, that my sister for video is 250 we paid. You say, 250? You say, yes now. You say, when? She got married 4 years ago. You say, that is why now. It was 250K 4 years ago. Sometimes your potential customers, your clients, they're just throwing out figures. The figure is out of date. So yes, somebody gave her a figure. Okay, no problem. The person said 5M. Press her small. You find out that somebody told her 5 million 2 years ago. Is it realistic that somebody has out of date market information on a 2-year-old quote? They threw the thing out. You didn't ask any questions. You just started trying to adapt. You just started trying to blend to their own circumstance. There's somebody that I was coaching yesterday. She sells solar for one of my clients. And I told her to push back. You won't believe. One of the people who called in, the guy said 10 to 16 million. I hope you don't mind, sir. How did you arrive at that figure? By the time we dug into it, now just guess the guy did guess. He saw the advert. He was interested in solar. So he clicked on it. And honestly speaking, he selected 10 to 16 million just because, na random guess. The guy feels say 10 to 16 sounds just about right. But of course, by the time you start discussing now, you will see that the system that the guy actually wants to install far exceeds that. Sometimes people are reaching out to you, dear Nigerian business person, Nigerian salesperson. They throw out a figure. The figure is out of date. It's something that somebody told them last year. Their sister's brother's uncle's second wife's cousin told them that figure 2 years ago. And since then, in their head, that has been the figure that is good for your own business, but you didn't ask. Sometimes it's just a random guess. The guy saw you guys online and he just thought 10 to 16 million. Just like that. When you don't push back on these sorts of situations, can you see the kind of difficult situation, the kind of hole that you're putting yourself in, just because you're not asking questions? Sometimes somebody gives them a figure, a friend will tell them something, or the competition will tell them something, but the figure is not accurate. Or the figure is okay, but it is not an accurate. Comparison. It happens all the time. I've given the example over here on the podcast when we needed to buy roofing sheets, roofing shingles or whatever they call them for Mumsy's house. I went to one place, somebody told me one thing. I went to another place, somebody told me something that was higher. So of course, I told the second guy that I'm just coming from so and so shop, and the person told me that it is so and so per square meter, per square feet, or however it is that they price those shingles. The second person did something I thought was masterful. He said, is it Switzerland or is it blah, blah, blah? In my own mind, I didn't even know that there are different qualities or different cadres. I just said, oh, I don't know. What's the difference? Then the guy went to go and bring out, see, trust Igbo men. See, but the thing is, the Igbo guy, I'm sure that somebody taught him this when he was new in the business. But see, that's the reason why when you're selling, when you're trying to improve your business by learning how to sell, sometimes watching other people, you can pick up some ideas because people have some good tips, good tricks. They're just not conscious that that's what they're doing. So the guy just asked me, Shebi na Switzerland or na, whatever place. And I said, oh, I didn't know. Is there a difference? And the guy brought them out. And honestly, they looked the same. I said, what's the difference? He said, this one, Switzerland, this one is oven baking. I said, which one is oven baking? And he explained the whole process. Now, basically, you take, is it clay or sharp, whatever. You take these things and you bake it in an oven, and it's almost like having terracotta. It's almost like having a clay pot on your roof, basically. It doesn't just look like it's that brownish clay thing. It actually is a brownish clay thing. Then he brought the other one. He said, you see this one? I said, yes. He said, this one, there's no baking. That is just coating. It's just iron, zinc. Then they just coated this something on top. Then he brought an older sheet, and then he showed the sheet look worn. He said, you see this? He said, scratch them. I said, He said, scratch them now, because the thing looked old. So I felt, okay, I scratched it, the thing came off. He said, you see? That's the difference between this and this. This one are oven baking. This one we can guarantee it. I can't remember if he said 50 years or 80 years. I said, this other one, no guarantee. In fact, this one, rainy season, by the time rainy season handle this roof, 5, 6 rainy season, the thing will just dey pee you. Everybody will see that this house that you have, that it is not correct terracotta or whatever he called it, roofing tile. There was just zinc that was under. He now asked me, this house that people are building, is it your own house? I said, no, it's not my own house. He said, is it for tenancy? I said, no, that actually is Momsy's house. And he said, I would not recommend that you use this kind of thing on top of Momsy's house. Because if you do, 4 or 5 rainy seasons, if you're lucky, everybody will see that this Momsy's fine mansion is just zinc that was under. It is not proper, I can't remember, terracotta or whatever roofing sheet. Forgive me, those of you who are in the building space. I gave him a figure. He pushed back. He got some more information. He was able to educate me, and he was able to sell on value because I pushed back. A lot of you will just hear so, and so, and you'll be afraid that, oh, if I don't match this guy, he will go back to the other person. Meanwhile, you match the price, you're selling at a loss, or you're selling at break even. On top information, on top a comparison that was not even adequate to begin with. And the way that Igbo guy closed the sale for me was, he said, if it is this one that you like, no problem. That's the lower quality one. He said, I will give it to you. I will even give it to you as a lower price. But as you take it, as you see him, just as you take it, just anything where you see, just take it like that. I know I'll give you guarantee, but I'll give it to you at a lower price. But then if you want this one, Switzerland, this is how much it costs per roofing, whatever. So I need to know the square, you know how they do it now, square meter, square whatever. He wanted to know the size of the house. And then from there, we'll be able to come up with an estimate and then know whether discount even makes sense or not. I ended up buying from him. I can't remember if it was the second or the third person that I went to. Other people did not bother with this exercise. That one was just, so and so per square meter. What I'm telling you is real life, live. Abuja, Builders Market, Gudu. That's where I went to. Not making this thing up. It was me. That's the problem. These are the kinds of things that can happen when you take a customer's budget as gospel truth. You don't push back. You don't inquire on the budget. So, because they have said they have a budget of 5 million or whatever it is that they said, it doesn't mean we should start acting on it. It doesn't mean that we should start showing them that, oh, your budget is 5 million. Okay, for 5 million, this is what we can do. No. What you should do Especially when people come to you, they already have a very specific budget. You don't know where this budget came from. Ask questions. The answers to the questions are going to determine the next thing that you will do. Remember, just like with my Igbo bros, when we're trying to buy roofing sheets for Momsy's house, he asked questions. The answer to the questions determined what it was that he did next. It determined the kind of presentation that he gave. It determined the kind of clothes that he would use. Somebody comes to you with a very specific budget, ask questions. The answer will determine what you do next. By the way, if you'd like to connect with me, you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you're interested in a 15-minute sale audit or you want me to look at one of your business processes, call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on the same number, 080-6466-2140. Or if you just want to join my WhatsApp channel, then WhatsApp me on the same number. Or if you just want to say hi, because some of you say, I love the podcast, I just want to say hi, then do that. And that'll be cool. Either way, I love having a chat with people who listen to the podcast. So if you're discovering the podcast the very first time today, I hope you're going to call me, send me a text message or WhatsApp message. No point in repeating the number again. So, now, what kind of questions are we going to ask? Some of you be afraid of this. Just like the sales lady that I was coaching yesterday. But if you think some of these things are too direct, you can use modifiers. Modifiers are just ways of softening the blow. So for me, the way that I modify the question is I say, I hope you don't mind me asking, how did you arrive at that figure? When somebody says my budget is 5 million, you need to push back. You need to know, how did they arrive at that figure? That's what will determine what we do next. So, excuse me. So my modifiers, I hope you don't mind me asking, how did you arrive at that figure? Then hear what it is that they have to say. If it's one of those situations that the price that they gave her was accurate, but that's the price that her uncle's wife's second cousin's best friend's second wife told her 2 years ago, is then you educate her and say, madam, was it not 2 years ago? Were we in the Tinubu regime back then? And then you will start to educate or you will start to distinguish accordingly. But you have learned some information because you push back. Another way is to ask like, really? 5 million? Somebody gave you a quote for that figure. You just say it like that and keep quiet. And then you hear what the person has to say. Like that Igbo bros who tackled me. That was his attitude. That he was like, really? Somebody gave you a quote for that figure? And then his next question was, should be in Switzerland or na? And then the conversation moved from there. But even if you just say it like that, really, somebody gave you a quote for that figure and you keep quiet, you hear what the person has to say. If the person says, yes now, yes, I'm coming from another shop, it is my cousin's shop, something, that's the reason why he gave me that figure. Okay, no problem. You've learned some information. The person got it from another shop. So now you know that there are multiple quotes on the table. You're not just the first person that he's talking to, and the other person is quoting the low ball figure. You have some extra information. Another thing that I like to do is when somebody throws out a figure, especially when the figure is ridiculous, I say, that sounds like a very good price. Very, very good price. If not me, I for take her. And then I now flip it back on the person. See, if you trust that person, how come you haven't taken the offer? Then I keep quiet. Last year, when I was coaching another solar salesperson, this was the tactic that he needed some help with the call, and that's the kung fu that I pulled on the other guy. The other guy was insisting on 8. What they were negotiating was around like 12. So I told him that, look, see, this 8 million that you're saying, you got the quote for that 8. The guy said yes. I said, you trust the guy? The guy said yes, that it is my brother Gong Gong. That's what he said. I'm quoting him. He said, my brother Gong Gong. And I said, okay. If it's your brother and you trust the quote, how come you haven't taken the offer? Now the guy laugh. He begin to laugh. That's when conversation changed. We continued talking. It turned out my brother Gong Gong was not really his brother. not his blood brother. It was just somebody that a friend in church introduced him to. The person is, that kind of like from the same village, so it's not really, you see, but when he was answering me, he said, my brother, gone. That's what he said. The guy emphasized it. My brother. And I said, okay, that 8 million for this setup is good. If you trust the guy, why are you not taking it now? You can push back. But remember, keep it conversational. No be fight. All right? It's not a fight. So that's also something I do. That sounds like a good price. If you trust the person, how come you haven't taken the offer? You now start hearing the story change. There's only one person that I've told that to that said, oh, okay, you know what? I think I actually will. I said, okay, sure, no problem. I'll call you back in a couple of days just to find out how things went. Would that be okay? Say yes. I called the person back. The person didn't answer. I said, okay. I said, of course you won't answer. You try yourself and you probably got burned. Anyway, maybe that's just me doing bad belly. Maybe he tried it and everything worked out fine. Anyway, you never know. But only one person has taken me up on the offer to say, you know what, actually you're right. Let me just take it. Either way, the number that the person called, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. If it works for somebody else, let the person go and do business with somebody else. And see, this is one of the reasons why I say sales is important and deal flow is important. You should always be talking to people. You should always have lead flow. You should always have deal flow. Because, if there's, the attitude, there's always fish in the market. So like, okay, you don't want to do business. No problem. I'm cool. Another person will call. Or tomorrow, I'm going to go and visit another person. See, you won't tell the person that, but in your mind, you understand? In your mind, that will be your attitude. Like, okay, this one will click, no problem. Tomorrow is another day. There's always fish in the market. And then this thing that Nigerian business people like to say that the one that is my own, God has kept it for me. That kind of attitude. Say, no problem. It didn't no click, don't be my own now. The one that is my own, God has kept it for me. I will go front, I'll meet them. Another way you can push back on price. You say 5 million? Are you sure that it covers XYZ? You now mention that extra, whatever it is, that is a distinguishing feature in your own business. Similar to what the Igbo guy did. Because remember, the guy said 5 million. So, yes. Sorry, not 5 million, but whatever figure it was he said, because I can't remember. It was such a long time ago. And I say, yes, I'm coming from somebody's shop. And then he said, oh, is this Switzerland or is it? So in this case, you can say 5 million. Say yes. That 5 million, are you sure it covers authentic oven baked something? And it's not just roof coating. You say, which one is oven baked? Which one is roof coating? We'll now give you an opportunity. But that's another way you can push back and you can get more information. 5 million, are you sure it covers XYZ? Another way, somebody call 5 million for you, say, 5 million? Wait. See, what exactly are you trying to do with this 5 million? You just ask first. You're trying to figure out the nature of the problem or trying to figure out the scope of the problem. You might find out that maybe you are the one that was looking too big. You are looking at the project as a big something. But by the time when they explain, you will see that it actually is a small something and that 5 million works for you. You say, oh, okay. If it's just a matter of doing like this, oh, okay, no problem now. That 5 million, it's okay. If it's like that, no problem. How many are you carrying? Let's not talk too much. If it's 5 million, that picture is okay. How many are you carrying? Because it happens. It has happened to me once before. Just once anyway. Now somebody called a figure. And then I asked. And then by the time I realized that, oh, this one, there's no work involved. By the time I called the other boys, they say, now, okay, like collect this thing and let's be going. That, are you sure? I said, yes, so. That what did guy say? That, we'll just go on site, we'll interview the people. Once we interview the people, we will hand over the footage. The guy will do all the editing and the everything by himself. And this is the price that the guy called. So, okay, are you sure? I said, ask the guy now. That's what he said. They say, okay, call the guy and collect this thing. That this is a one-day job. We will not spend up to 5 hours in the field. Go and collect it. And I called the guy back and then was smiling to the bank. Excuse me. My own fear was, sometimes a project can look small. and then people are just trying to play a fast one on you. By the time you collect it, they'll now say, we suppose, oh, I forgot, all that we suppose, and I forgot, and can you, that's where all the quarrel will start. You collect 10 million from somebody. By the time they say, oh, can you, we suppose, we whatever, you now find out that you collected 10 million. But then at the end of the day, to execute the job, paying all the extra boys now and everything, maybe you now spent maybe like 9.7. At the end of the day, is it 300K that you carry home to madam and say that you carried boys, you mobilized the whole squad, you went into the field, you went to go and shoot. Then at the end of the day, it's only 300K that came back on top of that big invoice. But somebody can say, my budget is just 5 million. And you say, really? Okay, this 5 million, okay, no problem. Like, what exactly are we trying to do? Sometimes you ask, the money is enough for you. Okay, good, take it. Sharp, sharp. And then smile to the bank. Or, if the figure is unrealistic, you now educate the guy that, okay, look, bros or madam, see, based on what you said, this and this and this actually is the ideal setup you should be looking for, and this is a much more realistic cost. Another way you can push back, somebody says my budget is 5 million. You say, oh, 5 million? Oh, okay. But I'm curious, what kind of warranty or what kind of guarantee is this other person giving you for the amount? Remember that Igbo guy that I spoke about? It's the same thing. Remember, warranty and guarantee entered into the conversation. He said for that lower grade, that what you see is what you get. That as you take anything where you see that, you're your own. But then if it's this one that is Switzerland, I can't remember if he said 50 years or 80 years. But anyway, some high amount like that. Although in my mind, I was wondering, this guy, 80 years. Because I was looking at him, I was like, you're a senior man now. And you're saying 80 years. Will you be around in 80 years? Sorry, forgive me. I know that sounds pretty morbid, to say. But that's what I was thinking in my mind, that you're giving me 80-year guarantee. But as I'm looking at you now, okay, it's looking like you will clock out in the next... anyway, let me not say too much so that people won't think I'm morbid. So, 5 million. Okay, what kind of warranty, what kind of guarantee is the guy giving you for that amount? Somebody else, say 5 million. If you're on the solar space or whatever you're selling, if you sell infrastructure, equipment and stuff, 5 million. Are you sure this person is buying from the original equipment manufacturer? Because there are lots of third-party resellers, distributors, or Nigeria-made, standard organization of Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can get that from a lesser amount. But for this particular setup, are you sure this person is buying from the original equipment manufacturer? For those of you who've been listening for a while, and you remember the fellow I was talking to from China, the one who sells construction equipment and heavy machinery, Sino, Howo trucks and all of that. So that's the guy's thing. Are you sure he's buying from the original equipment manufacturer? Because I am on ground in China. I know these companies. I go to these companies. In fact, today I was at so and so company. So anything that we give to you will come directly from these companies in China. You can go and check our place in Mile 2. You can check our place in Surulere, in blah, blah, blah. Every single thing you see there is because I am here in China and we have sent that thing down straight. I am the one who made sure the things got on the port here in China. That's the reason why we're doing WhatsApp call. Because I'm not in the country at the moment. I'm in China. So this person that quoted you 5M for this truck, are you sure he is buying from the original equipment manufacturer? Go and ask the guy first. When people finish, come, let's talk. Then another approach. This is one that people use in consulting. When somebody throws out a figure, you say, 5 million. Okay, no problem. These are the ideas that we've discussed. So, what part of this proposal are you willing to remove? This is the approach. 5 million? Oh, sure, no problem. We can work with the 5 million naira budget. But if it's 5M, we can't cover everything on this bouquet. We suppose pick and choose. So, Oga, which one will you pick? Which one will you choose? Which one will you remove? So that we can bring everything down to 5 million. Because this bouquet, where I arrange for you like this bouquet don't pass 5M. So 5M is your budget. Oh, cool. No problem, sir. No problem, mommy. We can do that. Which part will you remove? So, you see, if you're discovering this podcast for the very first time, that there are different ways that you can push back. That's the reason why it's important to listen to stuff like this. Listen to my podcast. It doesn't have to be my own podcast. Listen to any good podcast, Nigerian podcast or Igbo podcast that deals with these sorts of things. But the general strategies that we have been exploring so far are like this. Number one, there's the discovery approach. In sales, there's something that we call discovery, qualification and discovery. Qualification and discovery is when you ask questions about the person, you ask questions about the opportunity, you ask questions about the problem, you ask questions about the vision. Because there's always a person who is in front of you. There's always an opportunity or a context in which the person is operating. Then, people are generally dealing with two things. They're either trying to solve a problem or they have a vision that they're trying to achieve. So back to me and the roofing thing. The problem might just be, look, Bumpsy's on my neck. I'm tired of this woman on my neck. Let me just get this thing done. So some people come at this thing from, problem angle. There are some other children, good children, who'll be thinking, Bumpsy's house. The house, is suppose, one in town that people will see this thing and say, Kai! That no. That me too. I must have children that will do something for me. That kind of thing. So no matter what kind of product or service you have, some people are looking at it that, I have a problem. Some people are looking at it like, there's this ideal vision where I pursue, I must execute. You just ask questions around that. That is what we call discovery. So part of the strategy has been we're trying to just ask questions and figure out what kind of problem are these people actually trying to solve, that they're just throwing out 5M. What kind of problem are they trying to solve first? What do they actually need to solve? Or what is the vision that they're aiming for first? We'll discover it before we'll now enter that whole level of, this 5 million is accurate. Whether this 5 million go work or it no go work. Then scope alignment. It's kind of similar. Scope just means, how will I define it now? Scope. Guy. Okay, scope is how wide, Abi? How wide or how far reaching is this project? How wide or far reaching is this project? When we ask questions about the scope, we're just trying to figure out, how far apart are we? You might discover the scope and see that, like I said, in one of those situations where somebody wanted us to just record footage and then hand everything to him. Given the scope of the project and then the everything, in fact, we were even in surplus. The money that we were calling were even in surplus, because when I spoke to my video guy, the way he was looking at it was like, bros, this thing is a one-day work. In fact, 5 hours, we don't finish everything. So how far apart are we? Our motives, how far apart are we? The prices, how far apart are we? Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. Maybe we can meet somewhere that is fine for, both of us. So we're asking questions around the scope, just to be sure that, the scope is aligned. Then another part of the strategy is that we're asking questions around comparison. What do they actually have on ground? What do they need? It is then we'll now be able to show them that, look, what you have, or when you spoke to this person, when you spoke to Chukudi, or when you spoke to Kelechi, or when you spoke to Shegun, what they told you is insufficient. But see, when we're doing this comparison thing, we have to be ready to let some people go. You have to be able to let some people go. Because sometimes they've spoken to Shegun before they called you, or they've spoken to Chinyere before they called you. For Shegun or for Chinyere, they might be trying a market penetration strategy. Market penetration strategy is, okay, I'm brand new into the market. I need to get some customers quick. So because of that, I'll crash my prices so that people will rush me. If Shegun or Chinyere is trying to do market penetration strategy, look, that has absolutely nothing to do with you. So if 5 million is okay for Shegun or Chinyere, no problem. Let the guy go. If it's that 5 million can work from you, but you're trying to get some extra money, okay, I understand. But honestly speaking, if that 5M doesn't work for you, let them go. We have to be ready to let some people go. It's not by force. Remember secondary school where they used to say first to tire, but that was for, excuse me, for relationship issues. First to tire, you like a babe, the other guy likes the babe. You say, first to tire now. Like, I'll try and toast her. You too, you try and toast her. The person who gives up first, that's their own. See, first to tire, it might be okay when it comes to relationship issues, boyfriend, girlfriend. Brandy and, what's her name? Brandy and, the boy is mine. You need to give it up. Had about enough. It's so understood that boy. Anyway, some of you know the song anyway, but it was something that reigned back when I was I in secondary school? I think I was in secondary school back then. So, Brandy and what was this lady's name now? There was this musician, Brandy. Then there's another musician. I can't remember her name anyway. So, anyway, in that song, they were fighting over a guy. So first to tire is okay for personal relationships, but first to tire is not profitable in business. So if Shegun and Chinyere are doing first to tire, drop the price, allow them. You don't want those kind of customers. We have to be ready to walk away. Then another strategy behind the questions was, kind of like walk away type questions. So that time, when I said, if the offer is this good, why didn't you take the offer? That's like a walk away question. It's supposed to show that, look, me really, I have nothing to lose. And you, from what you're saying, if you have nothing to lose, then why not just take the other person's offer? When you use all these walk away type questions, you actually tease out what is important to the other person. So for the guy that was telling me, my brother, gone, why not take the offer? That's how we now started finding out exactly what it was that was important to him. And the reason why he was still talking to us was because my client's company was the more professional one. So now we can now focus the conversation on value. That look, if you really think that this company is the best, is the most professional company, then this is precisely why you should go ahead with this offer for 12. This is the kind of faculty we have. This is the kind of staff we have. This is our engineering expertise. We have worked with the original equipment manufacturers, and these are the warranties and guarantees that we stand by. So you have said it that we are the professional outfit. This is the reason why. These are all the things. So this is one on the table. The 12 is the ideal thing. If you must play around with budgets, we also put another budget there, which is at 10.2. But of course, it's for lesser panels, lesser batteries, something. See, it was a while. I can't remember the exact details. But from asking walk-away type questions, we're able to now refocus and start talking value. Professionalism is important to you. Oh yeah, now pay for it. That's the scope. By the way, this is sales, right? Not everything works all the time. So some of you will hear some of these things and say, oh, that sounds wonderful. That sounds masterful. You go and try it. The thing won't work. You will now be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Not everything works all the time. We keep trying it. We keep improving. And then we get more effective over time. But basically, there's nothing I will say on this podcast, or there's nothing you will hear from any other podcast or read in any book that will work 100% of the time. There is absolutely nothing. So let's have realistic expectations as we're trying these things out. Then the strategy that the guy used, the Igbo guy, on the roofing thing was, education and distinguishing. Figured out what was going on, and then the guy educated me on what I didn't know before about roofing sheets. Then distinguishing. Distinguishing is when you show that, okay, this is how I am different from that other person. Or this is how what I have on ground is different from what you saw outside. So back when I was still in events and doing media, okay, well, if any media gigs come, I still take it, but I don't push myself out there anymore, in that kind of industry. But what I used to tell people that, look, okay, madam, babe, sir, whatever the proper address, I tell them that, look, I understand that this is what you're used to, or this is what you think. But in Abuja, this is how it works. There are boys that can collect anything between 50K and 150. See, this was a long time ago. So don't take the prices now as reflective of what happens today. But I used to educate them. Now, look, see, this is Abuja. If you want somebody to do this thing for you for 50K, you'll find the person. Just go to UTC. UTC is a place in area, how is it now? Should I say area 8? I'll be area 10 in Abuja, where people do lots of photography work, camera work, paint, computer design, posters, frames, things like that. So if you ever need to sort out these sorts of things, you're looking for a photographer, you want to paint your house, or you want to design a banner, or you want somebody to design a website. Yeah, if you go to UTC, you find somebody. So I told him, or I would tell them rather, that was my specific script, in fact, that if you want somebody to do this work for you for 50K, you will find today. Anything from 50 to 150, you will find them. But those are UTC boys. And, okay, sister, the truth of the matter is, those UTC boys, what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. Make sure you choke your eye on them well and close mark them well. Or else, there'll be stories that touch. Somebody will cry. Either you will cry by the time the job is done, or maybe they will cry because you squeeze too much out of them. But either way, the person that will cry, it ain't gonna be me. So I'll educate them and tell them that, yeah, no problem, that's your price, it works. 50K self, you will find. Just go to UTC, 50 to 150, no problem. Then there's the middle tier market. These are the people who are between like the 250 spend all the way to about the 450 spend. That's where guys like me come in. And typically, these are the kinds of things that you can expect. You've seen the samples. You've seen the frames. You've looked at the website. You've seen the sample videos. These are the kinds of things that you can expect. And then there are the top dogs. And then I call specific names. You've been hearing those names on Instagram. You say, yeah. So those kinds of niggas, if you go to them, you didn't drop at least 750. They won't talk to you. So 750, 1M, 1.2, that's like the top whatever. So I used to educate them. So this is how the Abuja market is. It's obvious I'm the first event vendor that you're talking to. So with this information now, why don't you just go out, ask a couple of people, just do some more research, and then let's talk again next week. So for me, that was it. I would educate them that, look, this is the lay of the land. There's tier 1, there's tier 2, there's tier 3. When you're talking to tier 1 people, these are the kinds of things that you can expect. When you're talking to tier 2 people, these are the kinds of things you can expect. When you're talking to tier 3 kinds of people, this is what to expect. My own professional recommendation is don't fall below so and so. So I always just advise them that, look, it sounds self-serving, but honestly speaking, don't fall below this middle tier. It doesn't have to be me, but don't fall below this middle tier. Because if you fall into the hands of the wrong UTC boy, you will cry. You will cry. So, anyway, so excuse me. So those are the strategies behind the questions. So you can do qualification and discovery. We can try and figure out the scope of the project and see if there's any alignment. We ask questions to kind of compare what's going on. We have to be ready to walk away. Please be ready to walk away. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you. There are situations where I didn't walk away, where I was broke and I took the money. And I have never been in that situation and I was happy at the end of the day. Never. Anyway, you never know. Maybe a time will come when I take one of those and it works out. But so far, like, oh, I'm broke, like I'm really desperate, like I need this money now. Let me just, sharp, quick, let me just take this thing. I've never been happy at the end of the day. Yes, the money has ended up solving one or two problems, but the level of problem that came with those kind of jobs. Anyway, so let me leave you to make that mistake. But now we need to discuss we need to discuss tone. The tone of this thing is no be fight. We're not being combative here. We're trying to be collaborative here. So I'm curious, help me understand, blah, blah, blah. You're working with the person as a partner. So like with that Igbo bros, his attitude was not like, come on, get away from my shop. You're not serious. He was like, working with me. We're collaborating. Now, okay, be like, say, there's one or two things you don't know. So let me catch you up to speed. Let me let you know what's up. That's the kind of attitude when you're asking these kinds of questions. That is how you won't sound as if it's a quarrel, right? Then another pro move about tone, sometimes silence. So somebody says 5 million. You know that 5 million is a ridiculous price. If it's face to face, just smiling. So just smiling and nodding your head. You pause for a few seconds before you ask questions. That's a pro move. Sometimes the person will even begin to volunteer some information just because, nature abhors a vacuum. So you kept quiet for 1 or 2 seconds. The person will continue to volunteer some more information. In fact, in practice, what most people do who try this strategy, what they do is when they hear a low ball offer, they just repeat it back. So somebody tells you 5 million. In your head, you know that this is more like an 8 million kind of job. Well, you look at the person and say, 5 million. You just repeat it, you shake your head, you didn't say anything. You shake your head, you pause. The customer will now start volunteering more information. And then from there, you'll be able to get the extra information that will determine what it is that you do next. But by the way, I'm not going to recommend that any of you try this pro move, this silent move, because honestly speaking, it's just for pros. Because sometimes you're dealing with customers who knows what's up. And you say, 5 million. You shake your head, you nod. The madam, she knows what you're up to. She will say, yeah, 5 million. She too, she will shake her head. If she does that, you don't hook. How will you escape? So don't worry. All these pro moves, as everything is step by step. Right now, let's focus on the questions to ask. Later on when you are done, you can try some of those classy moves like, oh, really? 5 million? And then you shake your head. And then you pause. Then the person will start talking. But anyway, don't play all these psychological games. Just let's focus on the kind of questions that we want to ask. So, some of what I'm trying to say is, because a customer or potential customer, a potential client, a prospect has given a price, it doesn't mean we have to jump immediately. It doesn't mean we have to be desperate. It doesn't mean we have to start discounting. It doesn't mean we have to start matching their price. We have other options. And the options are these questions that we are going to ask. And plus, we need to get better at lead generation. Lead generation just means the skill, right? The skill, the strategy, the tactics of getting other people to raise their hands to show that they might be interested in your product or your service. If we get better at lead generation and we always have a full pipeline, as per, today I'm talking to people, tomorrow I'm talking to people, next tomorrow there are people that I'm supposed to talk to. Nobody can come and just wind you up anyhow. It's back like, in a university, when, some of us now, we're looking at the hottest girl on campus, But the problem is, she has options now. Club boys, they pursue her. Academic boys, they pursue her. Church boys, they pursue her. As in everybody, they pursue her. So for you, you're just an option. You can't do anyhow with her. And she will shake because she knows that she has options. So if you vex and you leave, no problem, it's your loss. Because she knows that tomorrow, another boy is going to come and toast her in the hostel. So it's the same thing. Get better at lead generation. When you have options, you can form. Somebody can say, 5 million. You can say, oh, really? Okay. You can fashion them. Because you know that today before the person came, you're already talking with 2 or 3 people. Those 2 or 3 people, when they price, 10, 12, 13, 15 million. You have options. You're not hungry. Get better at lead generation. The attitude will be, okay, no problem, 5 million, no problem, you can go, it's okay, I have other people to talk to. So, get better at lead generation. By the way, I'm not saying tell people that, you have other people to talk to. So, we've been talking for 45 minutes. Let's make this thing very concrete. Let's make this thing very practical now. By the way, applying these principles can be very tricky. So if you need me to look at your own particular circumstance, see how it works in your own business, then call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you're interested in a 15-minute sale audit, then WhatsApp me on the same number, 080-6466-2140. Or you can just join my WhatsApp channel. You stay up to date on things that I'm working on and episodes that we're putting out. So just WhatsApp me on the same number and I'll hook you up. But quickly, let's look at one scenario that I just coughed up just to make it practical. So, since yesterday, I was talking to someone who is in the solar space about these sorts of things. Let's just stick to the whole solar thing. So let's say we're dealing with the founder of a company. Sorry, excuse me. So let's say we're dealing with the founder of a company. Let's say his name is Engineer Tunde, because in Nigeria now, how will I put it? Anyway, let's just continue. So the founder of a company, Engineer Tunde. So let's say Engineer Tunde now, he's the founder of the company, or let's say he's the head of growth, or he's the CEO, or the whatever of the company. So Engineer Tunde is brilliant when it comes to engineering, and let's say the name of his company is Safe Vault Solar. So he's brilliant at engineering, but he's kind of frustrated. The reason why Tunde is frustrated is because he likes to use top tier equipment. If it's lithium batteries, he wants the best batteries. If it's original, if it's equipment, always original equipment from the original manufacturer, the original supplier, Gong Gong. He doesn't want to be buying from, all these Nigeria companies here and there. And so because of that, their growth is now, it's not climbing again. It's kind of plateaued, because every single time there's a customer, Engineer Tunde's price will be high, very, very high. But all the people that they're talking to, they don't mind going to, roadside installers or cheaper people, here and there. Now it's not easy to, it's very easy to enter into this business. All you have to do is just go and open a shop in a mall somewhere and then put your signboard, solar, and then that's it. You're ready for business. So now let's say that Engineer Tunde has sat through a meeting with a high net worth client in Lekki, phase one. As the guy get money, we can see that this person has money, that they are dripping money. But some people can be stingy. Aka gum. They don't want to release money. So let's say the client wants to power a 5-bedroom duplex, with 3 ACs, but they insist that their budget is strictly 5 million. Like they don't need, as in that 5 million. That's what they have. Now, Engineer Tunde knows that a reliable system for that kind of load that we're talking about, Engineer Tunde is comfortable doing it at 8.5. You see, but this is the problem. Chief in Lekki is saying that his own is 5 million is what he has cash on hand. But for Engineer Tunde, give me 8.5, I'll hook you up. So let's say in the past, Tunde would have said, well, anyhow, nothing bad pass. So let me just collect this 5M, and maybe cut some corners just to close the deal. So maybe that was in the past, but now Engineer Tunde is tired of all these things, because the problem, and that's the reason why I say anytime I've done this, I've not been happy. The problem with taking money and, it's not exactly what they want, but sure, will make it work, is question mark always comes up. So all those headaches, we call it after sales. You bought something from someone, the person now calls you, they say, oh, it's too long or it's too short, come and edit it. Or it's too tall, it's too this, it's too that, come and do this. That's what we call after sales. All these after sales headache, they can eat profit. Because like in the solar space, for instance, okay, we're done, the battery has swollen up, this and this, you send the boy back, you're paying transport, new materials, new wires, new this, new that. After sales is such a hassle. So let's say Engineer Tunde is tired of that game. He's not going to do that anymore. Now, what are the kind of things that Engineer Tunde can do? He can push back. If the engineer says, yeah, 5 million, and Tunde pushes back, and then the guy says, well, I've seen people do it for 5 million, so that is my budget. My neighbor did it for 5 million. Tunde can say, and smile. So 5 million? Oga can start talking and say, yes, my friend in VGC did it for this amount last year. You see, now the story has changed. Last year, Tunde has gotten some extra information. He can now start educating the engineer that 5 million last year worked, and that in fact, I did this kind of project last year at 5 million. And this is the reason why it worked at that time. But now, dollar is this, or now economy is this, or now this is this, or, what is what. You see, but the thing is, we have gotten some more information, because the person said, my friend in Victoria Garden, VGC is Victoria Garden City, Abi? So my friend in VGC did it for this amount last year. We have some more information. So discovery and qualification, or some comparison questions, Chief says 5 million. So Tunde can push back. Yeah, Tunde can push back. Say, Chief, when your friend got that 5 million naira quote, did your friend also add 10 kVA surge protection. Chief will say, which one is surge protection? You say, oh, Chief, now, see all this, see this, your flat screen TV, something, something, something. Sometimes NEPA can just bring light, current to be high. If you don't put surge protection, Chief, see all this, your fine, fine TV, all this, your fine, fine deep freezer, see Madam's fine deep freezer, everything will just blow. Wow. Chief will say, oh, actually, well, it is true. This deep freezer, we just got it brand new because last month, one of our deep freezers got damaged. The compressor blew. Say, hey, Chief, that is what I'm talking about. So this thing that somebody gave you for 5 million, did this person put 10 kVA surge protection? Question. Or another question. Did this person include the 5-year OEM warranty, original equipment manufacturer warranty, as we discussed? You see? Question. Engineer Tunde can push back on that 5 million. Engineer Tunde can say, Chief, 5 million for this kind of load, this duplex that I'm looking at. Chief, honestly, this is a very good price. Very, very good price. Somebody has given you 5 million. Chief, if I was you and I trust this installer, I would pay them cash immediately. So, Chief, if this is such a good price, why are you still talking to me? Like, why are we here? Why did you invite me here, sir? You'll be surprised that the story will start to change. In fact, another Igbo guy pulled this move on me. I will not say what it was I was buying, but I was there with my sister-in-law. By the time I gave my price, the guy laughed. The guy said, bros, somebody gave you that price? I say, yes. The guy said, I beg, give me the guy number. Give me the person's number. I want to go and buy now. For that price, original, if the thing is original, I want to buy now. If I buy it at this price and I come and sell here, that is good money. Say, bros, I beg, give me that number. The guy called my bluff. To be honest, I was just making up figures. I was just making up figures. It's not as if anybody gave me that figure, but I called the confident with a full chest. The guy said, The guy say, where? Give me the phone number. I want to call that guy now. I want to buy now. I will buy 50 pieces now so I can come and sell in my shop. So, Engineer Tunde can do the education and distinguishing thing. Say, look, Chief, see, that 5 million, I understand that that's what you have. But honestly, Chief, in this Lagos of today, there are 3 different levels of people in this solar market. We have all these roadside people, all these boys where just they enter plaza anyhow, just put signboard. All these roadside people. Honestly, Chief, what they do is refurbish batteries. That lithium battery, no be brand new. This battery, no be brand new. That solar panel, no be brand new. That, no be brand new. No problem, Chief. To be honest, you can go and spend money with any of these boys inside plaza, 5 million, no problem. They'll hook you up. In fact, I even saw somebody last month, not even 5 million, your own kind of house, 2 million, they hook up the whole thing. But Chief, just know that those kind of boys, every year you'll be fixing something. Chief, I can assure you, every single year you will be fixing something. Then, tier 2 people, those ones, then they sell standard stuff, but really, they don't offer any after-sale support. So if your inverter blow, the thing don't blow. Like, you've paid them, it's not their concern again. You have to go and find somebody else to sort them out. Or if they're going to sort you out, they collect extra money from you. So those tier 2 people, okay. It's okay. Their work is standard, but no after support. But then, Chief, there's a reason why in this Lekki area, I am the number one. Tier 1 people are people like me, and then I also like to call names at that point because I'm trying to put myself in a certain class if I'm going to use this strategy. So people like me, and I call 2 or 3 other names. We buy directly from the original equipment manufacturer. Straight. Germany, China, India, blah, 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 blah. We buy direct. And then these are the sorts of things that we offer These are the warranties and the guarantees, and this is the level of after-sales service that you can expect. So, Chief, if you insist on 5 million, to be honest, if I want to be desperate, I can do it at that 5 million. But if it's like that, Chief, no warranty, no guarantee. If the battery swells in 6 months, my hands are tied. Anything will happen, my hands are tied. In fact, Chief, I don't want to spoil my name. I don't want to do that kind of work anymore. So, Chief, you know what? If it's like that 5 million, just go and do it with that other person. But anything that happens, it happens. So, Chief, is that the risk that you are willing to take? Keep quiet and hear what it is that Chief has to say. Or, Tunde can push back, trying to get the scope of the project, trying to make sure that we're all aligned. So, Chief, that 5 million that you're saying, honestly, if that 5 million is the only thing that you have in your hand right now, no problem. If I'm going to hook up this duplex, what are you willing to remove, Chief? Are we going to remove the AC from the solar? The AC will just be on NEPA direct. Because, Chief, if you put everything on this setup and what we do is 5 million, if NEPA is bad, by 2 a.m. in the night, everything will just cease. Everything will just go off. Chief, I can't give you 8.5 million naira value for 5 million without something giving way. Something has to give way. So, Chief, 5 million is the budget. Okay, no problem. Let's look at your house now, Chief. So, which one are we removing? Is the AC that will remove from the solar? Abi is deep freezer that will remove. But we have to remove something. Abi will remove washing machine. We gas to remove something. So you can see, using the solar example, that there are lots of options. You don't have to jump. But if there's something that I said before that I want to emphasize again, let me just repeat it. Lead generation, please. Lead generation, please. Let me say it the third time. Lead generation, please. A lead is anybody who has done something to show that they might be interested in your product or your service. What are you doing for lead generation today, tomorrow, next tomorrow? You need something on ground. Because if Chief is the only person that you're talking to this week, nobody called you last week, you didn't visit anybody the week before. In fact, Chief is the second person that you're talking to in the 12 weeks since the year began. Omo, you will be desperate. Because you can't keep going home to your spouse. They're supporting you. Meanwhile, you're not dropping anything. It's somehow. You need to work on something for lead generation. So whether you're producing content online, whether you're giving people flyer, whether you're attending networking session, whatever it is, you need to be doing something. Good lead generation will give you confidence. So that if Chief walks away, you will know that, don't worry, before today close, 2 or 3 other people will call you. Or if Chief walks away, no problem, I am chatting to 4 or 5 other people in WhatsApp. You won't be desperate. Then remember, no be fight, okay? Collaborative. Then, we're in Nigeria, so of course respect your elders and respect people who are in a how will I put it, when you're in a selling situation now, our relative social status is different. But I'm not in support of people being boy, being house boy, and being yes sir. So it's no yes sir, no whatever. But you respect people, Oga, Chief, Madam, Deaconess, Doctor, Mrs. Address them well and be polite. But of course, you also be direct. You'll also be assertive. So just use that cultural factor, respect everybody. Oga, blah, blah, blah. And I trust you know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that be respectful. But don't be boy. Don't be a house boy. If you can't think of any modifiers, one modifier I use is, I hope you don't mind me asking. So I just say it like that. Oh, Chief, sorry, please, I hope you don't mind me asking. Bam. Okay, hope you don't mind me asking. Madam, hope you don't mind me asking. Doctor, Mrs., hope you don't mind me asking. Chief, doctor, pharmacist, and yes, people like that exist. They really do exist. Because there was one time, I was still in Greg's back then, I had learned how to drive. So any small excuse, I used to just carry mom's car. So that's how I said I was going to Lekki now. So, by the way, I don't live in Lagos anymore. I'm in Abuja now. So that's how I carry mom's car. And she said, "Oh, that when you're going, I can't remember which estate she said. That just passed through. Was it Dolphin Estate? I can't remember anyway. Pass through this estate. I'm going to give you to Dr. Mrs. Chief Pharmacist, something, 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 something." I said, "Mom, is that necessary?" She said, "Look, Tave, I have told you. She is Dr. Chief Pharmacist, Mrs. something, MFM, OMR, something. As in the title was plenty. In fact, Mom said, look, give me the envelope. I collected it. She took it back. My mom now wrote out everything as it was. And I said, okay, no problem, Mommy. I'm cool. But as you know now, when you're young, you feel like as if you know everything. And I just thought, no problem now. Like, because I knew some of Mom's friends, and I know that, okay, they're cool. So I just assumed that this woman will be cool as well. So that's how I got to the house. Very correct house. Very, very correct house. Ding dong, doorbell. Enter inside. The house girl let me in. Very correct place, very plush, very AC, everything. Madam comes down, looking very regal. And I said, good morning, ma. Madam addressed me as in she shot me down. As it was written on the envelope, that is how Madam said it. Chief Doctor Mrs. Pharmacist FMR something, Federal Republic of Nigeria, whatever. She just said it like that. That is Chief Doctor Mrs. something to you. I said, oh. I took dressing. I said, oh, I'm terribly sorry. Ma. I caught myself saying ma again. I said, I'm terribly sorry. I repeat the whole thing. So yeah, those kind of people exist. So we should be careful. I've only jammed one. But yeah, they exist. So then last thing. Please, I've been saying it on the podcast a lot and I'm saying it again. We need to make a shift. We should stop being vendors in our mind. Stop thinking of yourself as a vendor. You're not a vendor. You're not begging money for anybody. You're an expert. You hear me? If you don't take anything away from today's podcast episode, just realize that you are an expert. You're not a beggar. You're not a vendor. You're an expert. Go for these meetings. Advise people well, as the expert you are, on the investment that is required to make this thing happen. If you don't take anything away from what I've said today, please take this one. You're an expert. You're not a vendor. You are not a beggar. You are not a boy. You're nobody's slave. You have inherent dignity. You have inherent dignity. You have worth. You're a child of God. You have value. And you're an expert. Go there. Sit down as an expert. Yes, they have more money than you, but you are the expert. Then advise them accordingly. Give your expertise on the investment and what is needed to move this thing forward. Okay, so let me bring it to a close. Sorry, I know I've not done a 1 hour episode in a very, very long time, but that's it for today. So if you got value from today's episode and you want to connect with me, call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. But either way, please stop jumping. Every single time they throw out a figure, don't just jump. You have options. And also remember, you're the expert. You're not a vendor. You're a beggar. Sorry, you're not a vendor. You're not a beggar. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you all some other time.